Hi, I'm Jeff Brand, Professor of Communication and Media at Bond University. I'm delighted to present Digital Australia 2022, or DA22. This is the ninth in a series of studies that we began in 2005 to catalogue who plays video games, how they play, and Australians' attitudes towards this amazing medium. Every year we've run the study, we've had a theme, and this year the theme is Connected by Games. Connected by Games tells us about the nature of video game playing in 2020 and 2021 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'll talk about the aspects of this research related specifically to the Games for Change conference, but if you'd like to learn more, and indeed if you'd like to be a part of our webinar series from the 19th of October, please contact Molly at IGEA.net. Now, the Interactive Games Entertainment Association funds this research. I'm the author, and my co-author is Jan Jarvis. Let me tell you a little bit about how we did this research before I tell you about our results. In this research, we've surveyed 1,204 Australian households, and in them 3,152 individuals, both adults and children. We've used the Your Voice panel from Nielsen. We conducted the data collection back in March this year, and the margin of error for this research is 2.7%. Now, this is a very big report, and sub-themes within the Connected by Games theme include connecting to games, all about households and games, connecting with games, about individuals and who plays and how much they play and so on, connecting through games, particularly related to the pandemic, connecting games with families, connecting games and personal growth, connecting games and culture, connecting games and the economy. Now, I'll talk about some aspects of this research, particularly as it relates to this conference. The main premise is that in 2019, we began to experience the COVID-19 pandemic. By 2020, the media landscape was rapidly filling a void where social connection was very difficult to achieve. Connected by Games recognizes that a lot of people are connecting to new experiences that they wouldn't have because they were able to travel and to socialize and to connect with one another. So the simple premise is that video games have filled a void. And throughout this research, we're showing that a number of individuals responding to our questions about how COVID-19 changed their experiences with games and vice versa. And these quotes are really quite telling. For example, consider this female, 39 years of age, a mother in a household of 4. I have played more games since COVID started. We bought a Nintendo Switch and I play games with my kids as well. I didn't think I would enjoy it, but I do. This is just the start of how we understand how people are playing video games during the pandemic and how they're connected by games. It turns out that we have almost 9.5 million households in Australia, and of those, 8.6 million have a device with which to play video games. 36% of those households have one device, but 64% have 2 or more devices. These devices range from consoles. Our current console cycle has really pushed console sales and use up a bit. 68% of our samples say they use consoles, 54% say they use mobile phones, 53% PCs, 37% tablets, and 14% handheld devices, with 6% using VR and 48% using some sort of network subscription service. It turns out that in 2021, video games rank second in the list of all the media preferences that adults have for their households. This is the first time that video games have ranked in the top 3. And they beat out free-to-air television when we ask adults to rank the various media preferences they've had during the pandemic. People are playing video games about the same as they have in the past, maybe just a bit more. The youngest age group that has a very high level of play is the 15 to 24-year-olds. Females 95 minutes a day, males 128 minutes a day. But something interesting happens, and we've observed this for the last 4 studies, when we look at the older age groups. By age 50 or so, women overtake men in terms of the amount of time they spend playing. And there's some really interesting outcomes and suggestions and implications for this finding. Indeed, have a look at this quote about connecting through games from one grandmother. My 2 grandsons taught me how to play when I was caring for them during lockdown, as their parents work in emergency services. Even though I'm not as good as them, they still want me to play video games when I'm at their house. What a fantastic and nuanced understanding of how older women may be playing games during the pandemic. And indeed, the pandemic has influenced video game playing. 76% of parents say that during the pandemic they've played either occasionally or often with their children. 31% have said they've used games to help children. 25% have used games for virtual travel. And 22% have communicated through games. The common playing experience in Australia with video games is social. 75% of our participants say that they at least sometimes play socially with others through video games. Only 25% say they never play with others when they're playing video games. And the experiences that people have with games are really changing. For example, a third of our sample said that they play video games and apps specifically designed for health and fitness, with 78% of them saying they use those apps for getting motivated, 68% for increasing physical activity and sticking to a fitness routine, with 63% saying they use those games for connecting with others. Now, I won't read this quote for time, and it will be in the full report, which you can get access to from the 19th of October, but suffice it to say, many parents who were struggling with at-home schooling and care were doing many things with their children and to support their families. Video games actually helped. Look at this story about connecting with games and personal growth. This male, age 40, parent in a household of 6 in Sydney, said, "It was important for me to refresh my mind because I stay at home and continue my office from home. So I spend more time with my children and play video games." Let's explore how people were using games during the pandemic for well-being. For example, what is the potential of games for living well? Well, according to all adults in our study, the top 3 potential reasons or benefits from playing video games are growth of general knowledge, improvement in mental health, and growth in digital knowledge. Look at this male, 38, from a household of 3 in regional Queensland. "Don't know what to say. Playing games helps in all aspects of my life. During this pandemic, it's helped my depression and my boredom." There are so many ways games can help our players in Australia as a result of their response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And how about the potential health benefits from games? Well, the top 3 health benefits, according to all adults, regardless of whether they play video games, is thinking skills, emotional well-being, and reducing anxiety. In other words, all adults say that there could be benefit from video games, even if they don't have experience playing them. And how about for aging well? Well, the potential of games for doing things like improving balance, increasing mental stimulation, and fighting dementia are the top 3 potential benefits from video games for playing well, according to our sample. A number of parents identify the fact that their children are using games at school, especially when they're being homeschooled. 60% of parents said that they're aware now that games are being used in the school curriculum. And I like this quote from this male, 28 years of age, household of 5 in regional Victoria. He talks about playing Persona 3, which helped him overcome his depression and his fear of engaging with others. A serious game meant to change the world. The potential of video games for school is not small. 78% of adults say that playing video games may actually help teachers connect with students, and 76% said they may help schools remain relevant. All in the 70s, adults who play video games saying that games can be used for learning say they can be used for everything from STEM learning to helping improve reading. And in terms of the student experience, between 71 and 80% of adult players say that games can help overcome learning difficulties, help students cope with stress, and even help students pay attention in the classroom. 23% of adults say that they have used video games at work to learn, particularly around health and safety. And this last quote, this is a father who says his daughter is a lead animator for one of the largest MMORPG games in the world, and his eldest granddaughter started her degree in animation this year. But his lament is that we're not doing enough to make games in Australia and keep those jobs onshore. So that's a brief summary of Digital Australia 2022. We hope that you'll join us in a couple weeks' time on the 19th of October or the 20th or the 21st when we'll have webinars for this research. If you'd like to attend those, contact Molly at IGEA.net, and from the 19th you'll be able to download the full report. Thank you very much.